So Xiaomi has released its Note 12 Pro series, and it was released on 1st of November 2022. It This device is launched in four colors: black, blue, white and violet color. It is IP53 dust and splash resistance, which means you can splash water on your phone, but it is not water resistant. The display on this phone is an OLED display. It supports 1-bit color. It has a tons of features when it comes to display. It has 120 Hz display, Dolby Vision, HDR Plus support, and it has a peak brightness of 900 nits. And the screen size is 6.67 inches. The screen to body ratio is 86%, and it's a 1080p display with 395 ppi. This phone comes with Android 12 MIUI 13. It has a MediaTek 1080 processor, which is a 6 nm 5G processor. It doesn't comes with a memory card slot. And the interesting part, Xiaomi has released four variants for this phone according to their RAM and ROM. The first variant, 128 and 6 gigs of RAM, 128 and 8 gigs of RAM, 256 GB with 8 gigs of RAM, and 256 GB with 12 gigs of RAM. And all the variants are having UFS 2.2 storage. And coming to the back side of the phone, there are three cameras. The first here is a main camera, which is a 50 megapixel f1.9 aperture camera. It's a wide camera, but it also supports OIS. And the other camera is an 8 megapixel ultra wide camera, which is 119 degrees wide. And the third macro camera, which is a 2 megapixel, which I don't think will give you some nice pictures as for macro, cause it's very low megapixel, and it has got an f2.4 aperture. The features of this camera is it has a dual LED flash, which is a dual tone LED or dual LED. It supports HDR, panorama. And coming to the video side, it can shoot 4K at 30 frames per second and 1080p at 120 frames per second. And slow motion, it can shoot 720p at 960 frames per second. Coming to the front camera, it has got a 16 megapixel wide camera, and it supports HDR, and video support is 1080p at 60 frames per second. It does have a headphone jack, and that's a good news, because most of phones are coming without headphone jack. And it has got stereo speakers. The fingerprint is under display, and it's an optical fingerprint. You know that it has an OLED display, so the fingerprint is easily, that's why fingerprint is under display. It has got a 5000 mAh battery, which can be charged with a 67 watt fast charging, which can give you a 50% charge in just 15 minutes. That's really insane, and a full battery in 46 minutes as per advertised. And it supports USB 3.0.